So, welcome to the new podcast screen. I've tried to start like multiple of these throughout the years, and I have not done any of them right. Just because I get bored of it, or I just don't like ever remember to do these on like a constant basis. So we're gonna see how this goes. This might just be like a bi-weekly thing, you know. Let stuff brew up per week and let whatever happens, I guess. So the sorry, I had a brain fart. So today's whole topic is going to be about the YouTube channel. Of course, I've been running it for about how many years now? I can't even remember off the top of my head. About seven years currently, and I think we'll be hitting 8 shortly, or sometime later this year in November. So a little after Thanksgiving. Funny enough, since, Thanksgiving Adventure was like one of my like first big runs with short films, because all my other short films were, little middle school kid, running around with a camera and being like, let's just film something, no script, no nothing. There wasn't much of a script at all until about like the time we hit Thanksgiving Adventure, because we were little kids, middle school years. We didn't really have much of a thought of how filmmaking works. We're just like, screw it. We want to have some fun, do some little short films, and we did. And the first ever series I did is now implemented into my little like cinematic universe idea I have, that I have been slowly crafting ever since, because this just all started off as like a dumb little series, and then I'm kind of like, I think I want to keep this going, which is when the whole nuclear fallout sitch happened. Survival of the fittest, that was just a thing we never got off of the ground. Secret of the Marksman, that was like, jeez. That was like a weird little show. We thought we had a basis for something, and then by our what we considered season 2, we were like, I don't know what you say. We weren't, me and the guy I was working with, we weren't talking as much. We stopped like communicating, and so I knew we weren't going to get much of season 2 done, so I just decided episode 2 will be the little like throwaway, like, oh, we're going to just end this right away, or no, it was more so a mid-season finale that was going to set up some big things and cut the story kind of short so we could just kind of complete it early. So, that didn't go well, and then after that, the Marcus and Tobias thing we did, that was, literally just the rest. Was it the rest? It was, I believe it was, because I have like a false memory of like everything that happened before. It was so, it was a long time ago when we did that. I think Marcus and Tobias was our survival of the fittest like season, and we just like threw it in what we had, and we just like threw it into a big little short film and stuff. It was cool. It was really cool working on all that and letting our creative minds run wild. And I just I stopped doing stuff after that because my YouTube channel got found among school buddies, and it just became one big wily old joke among my friends and stuff. So that all happens, and then when I started uploading again, that was when I joined our school news, which we were like part of the reason it got we like to call it canceled by cancel culture. I mean, cancel culture would be what we like to call, basically head of the school saying we don't like this and that, we don't like this and that, and it really was kind of dumb. Because we did have Thanksgiving Adventure play in front of the entire school audience and stuff. It was hilarious. I remember walking into class and people like being like, "Oh yeah, your short film just played and you weren't even here," because I was out on like some like field trip around the time. And then we weren't gonna do anything after that. In fact, Blizzard Boy was supposed to just be a big like infomercial about Christmas and stuff. Just like how the Thanksgiving Adventure was literally a infomercial on Thanksgiving, and basically like saying, hey, this is how Thanksgiving works. So that went off as it did. Blizzard Boy never got aired because that was around the time that our school news got canceled entirely, like shut down entirely. And so never aired on there. In fact, none of it ever aired because of certain things. Fun fact, our news channel got shut down because of a Rocky segment that was supposed to be about taking a test. Apparently, Blizzard Boy was viewed as controversial to the school board. And then, if you guys don't even... I wonder if you guys even remember. It's an old thing. If you've been watching my channel for a while. The whole Filthy Frank guy who was doing like a Filthy Frank accent and, going on about memes. I think we have the video uploaded of it, but he, put a "what are you doing, step bro" joke in the video, and that basically was like the touch that made it go boom, shut down entirely because of that. And it would have gone under the radar if if no one had mentioned it, or if no one pointed it out to him. It would have gone entirely under the radar until after it aired, probably. That's what I'd be betting on. But it was a wild time for us. And now I think that was like right before the big COVID scare. Yeah, when COVID hit and everything. Yeah, that was around that time. Because then after that, Boom Boy, the absolutely abomination that it is, happened. And then I was working on War of the Worlds 4 as my little COVID project. Because my creative mind didn't want to be trapped in my room any longer. And I didn't want to just, sit at my computer playing games all day. Or, not having anyone hang out with just because of the stupid social distance shit that went down. So that happened. I worked on War of the Worlds 4. That came to fruition, and I believe that was about a year's worth of filmmaking. And then because I filmed it all within like 2 or 3 months, and then the rest of it was literally just me and my editor back then, before I went back to editing my stuff, working on it over Discord calls and whatnot. So that happens, blah 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 blah. Things start coming back. I started doing some content which didn't really hop off anywhere. I aired like maybe one or two, I think it's just one, little segments. I did like I know I'm very bad about it, but you know, me and teasing a bunch of stuff that might come out and never happens. Like for example, I have a entire script written for a horror film, and I was wanting to do it at least sometime this year. I wanted it to be my big 2023 project I worked on. That doesn't seem like it's going to happen just because of recent stuff in my life coming up. I got college coming up in the fall, and I'm going to be there for about like 4 years. Though I wouldn't say that anything in college will, you know, die out. Like my channel's probably not going to die out if I do like anything for what I'm going in for, which is film class. If I do make any projects, I'll make sure to put them out for you guys to see. I might record something. I might try and film something while I'm here. You might be watching me do some vlogs because I got some ideas after being around there. We have some interesting shit near my college I'm going to. So yeah, I wouldn't say to expect a film of some sort like anytime soon unless I'm able to craft up something within like the summertime, which I doubt because my time is very short. I'm very busy a lot doing some stuff in real life. So if anything comes out, it'll probably be within 3 years or maybe 4. I don't know. But I'm gonna be doing this, and then I'm gonna start my career over in the film industry, get all into that, you know, try and get my feet dabbled into some of this filmmaking shit, and whatever happens, I guess. That's just how it's gonna be. What else? So yeah, school news came back up after like a year or so, because it used to be VNN that we did our stuff through, and then that got shut down, and then everything was just kind of blah afterwards on my channel, and then we came back as VGN, which is Viking Good News, and it became just this big sort of whatchamacallit, news. It became more news like, but of course, since I was in that class, we did dumb skits anyways. I still did news segments, but on the side we did little skits and see if we could throw it in there. Some things are just really dumbly edited stuff. Squash Boy 3 got put together during that time. I think that is like our best work we've as a group have ever had, because it was just our we aired it about like the day we aired it was the day that we like finished editing it entirely, because when we were editing this thing, it was like we're running on some terrible like school computers, and our filming process got delayed a bunch because people weren't showing. We didn't have certain things that we wanted to use, and then other things were just coming up during that time, and it all just kind of went blah 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 blah. Fuck this all up. So the day that we did the premiere of it at our school, in front of like a crowd of people, we finished it like minutes before it aired. So that was how much time we really put into it. The script at first was written by Squash Boy himself, and then I did my own, and what we did was we looked at both of our scripts, and we just kind of like realized, why don't we just put them together, because we got good things in each one. Some things got cut that we didn't want to put in for reasons, and we had about like 4 ending ideas, if I'm correct. So the ending we went with was the one you saw where, Squaw Boy, sacrifices himself at the end. So basically everyone goes off on their own way. And since we thought about this being the definitive like ending to it, that we had like 2 other ideas in store. So what we had in mind was both there's 2 ways that Squash Boy was gonna die no matter what. So the one where he dies is where Squaw Boy dies, kills the Equalizer dude, and then what's his name dies. Gustav dies. I'm forgetting all these names already, and I've only been working. I worked on this like recently. Like when did 10 months ago War of the Worlds 5 came out, and I'm forgetting all the names already. Goes to show where my mind's been in like the past like year or so. So Squaw Boy 3 would end like that, like, them all dying. It was gonna be like this. We wanted to do an editing trick with this ending. It was like the original kind of ending we had, until I realized it was kind of meh. It was kind of weird. So yeah, Squaw Boy and Gustav die, and then Boschko goes off on his own, and then John. The ending is John, in the room. He basically is like writing down the chronicles of this entire like storyline, and we're watching him finish writing it off, closing the story, and then he sits down at a table, and we're gonna have green screen green screen me and the Squash Boy just sitting at the table with him, and we were like, this is gonna be so dumb, there's no way we're gonna be able to do this. So we didn't do that, and then we had another idea. This was just kind of like a joke one. We labeled it the John Timbers schizo ending. So basically it ends with the original like ending and whatever, but instead of like showing off him like sitting at a table, like ending off the books of this that he's been writing, he goes into some we take the camera into some weird facility, it's like scientists, lab coat people standing around and talking, and they're going on about how like our patient's been acting up a lot recently, he's been going wild. We cut to him and it's John Timbers in a straitjacket with like in like this like padded room, what do you call them, like the pillow room or whatever, isolation chamber. And he's got just a bunch of papers and like crayons, and he has like pictures drawn of each of the characters, and he's like pretending he's in their world. It was sad thinking of that we even thought about that, but it was funny to us. So we didn't even go with that ending. And we thought of it as the definitive ending, but I actually like started writing War of the Worlds 5 like midway through, because I kind of already knew what it was, what was going to be of the ending. I knew we were going through, we were final on everything, and we even had filmed the ending at that point. So I write War of the Worlds 5, and the whole entire beginning script for it was was entirely different from what we were going to be going over in the movie, because the movie, is like years later. Oh, we gotta fight off whatever's left. It was a big, like, I kind of think of it as like the big fan service for the people who have like been watching since the beginning, because we brought back people who were like just disappeared within the storyline, whatever. Like the Crow, he was like a side character we weren't gonna do anything with until nuclear fallout, and then became this like big bad guy and stuff. We didn't even get to finish nuclear fallout at that rate, but nuclear fallout's ending was gonna kill off a bunch of characters. It was gonna be a big mess. But Dwight the clone, who's like has this coding, is good. He's not like the others. We were like, yeah, we'll bring him in. He was going to be in the script, but the whole center of War of the Worlds 5 was once again going to be just another fight with the Equalizer, and I thought that was kind of dumb. I thought it was kind of stupid, but it was going to be all filmed in VR. It was going to be filmed partially in real life, but the whole thing was going to be filmed in VR, and I thought about it. And in my head, I'm like, this could work, but do I have the like power to film everything in there without making the frame rate drop or anything break and crash? And the more I sat and thought about it, it didn't work, and I said I'd save a VR short film for another time, because one day I do want to bring about a short film within the eyes of VR entirely. And I feel like since I didn't get this one idea off the ground, I might do a War of the Worlds 5 alternate cut, which is the War of the Worlds 5 ending with, the VR and whatnot. It's still going to end off in basically the death of Crow. I was going to let Gustav live. In fact, the whole lung cancer thing was like out of the blue. It was more so as like a joke amongst the people when we were filming with, before I moved from Georgia to where I am now. That was just kind of like a plot point that I could have thrown away, but I just kind of put it in the background as like a ticking time bomb type deal. Like he has, ticking time bomb, he's got so much time left, so this has to be all for something. And it was in the end. And originally the ending for this was just going to be of him dying, and then it was just going to fade to black, and then boom. But then I was like, that's so inconclusive. I want to have a big plot twist finale to this whole thing, because it just feels weird to me that War of the Worlds is like just going to end off after a death scene. It was kind of like, meh. I don't want to leave it off like that. It feels so... I could have made it climactic in a way, but it would have felt so anticlimactic, especially just ending off a series such as this, in that kind of manner. So I thought up the ending that it got now, which is having him, wake up in this VR type space. Or basically, this was like kind of like my little thing to like do the whole VR bit, but like not do the whole VR bit. So he wakes up after having the machine on his head, takes it off, and we come to find that this whole thing has been run by a puppet master, which kind of ties in the whole like intro of the movie. If you pay attention, he's, you know, showing off all these like weird bits that just don't make sense at all, but once you make it to the end, it all kind of makes sense why that was in there. And I didn't really think about that until like maybe a month or so after the movie was done. After it was done filming. So that all happens. We got the filming done. And at one point, someday, I will do a alternate cut. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I will do an alternate cut, either of an entire movie, or if I decide not to do an alternate cut, I'll make it its own thing. I feel like I might, because I'm kind of done with it all for now. Because in my own little cinematic universe, War of the Worlds is kind of the War of the Worlds that we're in right now. It's not really what I would plan for, if you get what I mean. Squash Boy was never meant to even be a part of it in the beginning. That's what I'll say. We got in talking with the Squash Boy gang, who's pretty much watched everything on my channel up to this point. And so we decided to think, why not have, you know, Blizzard Boy and all this, you know, the ending to Blizzard Boy basically be a way to connect the two things together. Because the running gag in our friend group was, when are you going to make War of the Worlds 4? When are you going to make War of the Worlds 4? And I would joke around with them saying, you know, oh, I've got this whole script written out here. And then little did they know I had the whole script. I just started filming and editing it, and then that all spread around, and that just kind of made this whole half of this, you know, not really a part of the cinematic universe idea that I've had in mind for this entire thing. In fact, my whole cinematic universe is way bigger than what this is. And I think War of the Worlds is definitely a part of it, but it's not going to be, you know, War of the Worlds is a part of it, but it's not like the main thing I have in mind, because I have the whole idea laid out. It's a big, like, I know the whole, this whole idea is used a lot now in, like, media and whatnot, you know, it's like, oh, this, you know, but it's a big multiversal hero storyline with multiple universes that are all ran within but like, it's kind of like a space-time continuum type deal. Like each universe, like each universe is labeled within the year that it is, like the year of life that the universe has, and a year, it goes from, you know, like the first year of life all the way to 3,000 years old of, you know, living. So like around the time of, like, say War of the Worlds, this would be like 2015, pretty much the year 2015. And so the year 3000 is basically where it corrupts. Like, the universes are like on an endless loop, if that makes sense. Just this endless loop where once one corrupts and falls apart, it's basically reborn again, and then it just like goes through this constant like loop of years and doesn't really have an endpoint. It does have an endpoint, I'm sorry, but it's not exactly like a, you know, a definitive like universe, like doesn't end by its own means. and stuff. So I wanted to like think up an idea, because all these multiverse things, they have like, oh well, this is dimension like A150, or this is, like, multiple timelines where this breaks apart, like, Marvel, where it's like in their whole thing is time travel, whatever. I thought, why don't I just try to find a way to combine those? So in a sense, when you are time traveling, it's time traveling, but time travel is entering a whole new universe in a sense. I won't change like the fact that you can time travel within a universe and go back in time of that, but in a sense you're basically going into another universe, if that makes sense. It's very wacky, and I have to like be on some shit to really get it down and down packed in my noggin and stuff to tell this idea in full, because when I think of it, to me, it feels like a working like universe, which probably would need some tweaking, but it is what I have in mind as a sort of multiversal idea. So that's pretty much the whole idea for that. I want to see if I can make it into fruition. I don't think I'll ever will, just because of how big it is. It is a big idea. It is really big, and it would take lots of time to work on. I think I probably would never, if I ever did get to a point where I could work on this thing, I worry that I wouldn't ever be able to see the end of it. It's that big for me, because I'd probably be dead by then. Who knows? So yeah, that's pretty much kind of the whole spiel for the channel. Let me see what other small things. I might post little dumb skits here and there. Project Zomboid Survival Series is gonna be coming out here and there. I don't ever find good times to stream it anymore. Stream it for you guys. That might happen again at some point. It might not. Who knows? I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might try and do more gaming content on the channel. I might start vlogging a bit too, give you guys a sense of my daily life, which isn't really too crazy. It's not too big. It's not, I don't know how else to put it for you guys. But one of my big things I've been getting into recently is disc golf. Disc golf is like a very big thing of mine. I like to do. I've been playing ever since I was a kid, but more recently I've been really delving deep into this and whatnot. So I might do vlogs of that for you guys. I've also thought about maybe finding a way to tell the cinematic universe storyline through podcasts, because I've been really delving into some story-based podcasts and whatnot, and I feel like it would be fun to try and tell it, but I feel like, once again, I feel like it's the kind of thing where you can't like tell it in an audible state unless I really know how to describe it in full. But it might be part of what this podcast will turn into. This podcast, for me at least, this current one is a just a big discussion one, just talking with everyone and stuff. sending in if we ever get as far with this one or ever get big enough as this one. I feel like I'll start doing like questions and maybe some story time bits, whatever, or sending in like ideas or whatever, or stuff that you had in mind, or questions for the channel in general. But I will say, if you ever do want to catch the podcast early, you can just come to here, come view the Twitch stream. Every time I plan one out, I'll put one in advance, and you can watch this before it gets uploaded onto the channel, which is where it will be uploaded. And I think I'll be trying to get this onto Spotify as well. So if I can move it to Spotify, would be great. If I can't, it's just going to be a Twitch and YouTube type deal, which I don't mind at all. We'll figure something out. But yeah. So other topics for today. Let me think. I can't really think much of other topics other than how I feel about the state of like Star Wars, because I woke up this morning, I was kind of like scrolling over in social media and like seeing all these different types of like media things popping up, and I saw the recent news that's been coming out about the Star Wars franchise. By the way, I will say that Ahsoka trailer was fucking bomb. I loved it. I can't wait because I did enjoy Rebels. I think it was a decent show, and seeing Zeb in The Mandalorian was balling. I am excited about that. But my biggest issue right now is where the whole like movies, the whole like where the movies are headed, because I wasn't too much of a fan of the recent ones that they did. I'll say maybe 7 was okay. I thought 7 was a decent Star Wars movie, even though it was kind of just a rehash of old content. It didn't really feel original, but it still felt fun, because around that time, it was crazy. We didn't see a Star Wars movie in forever. Like, Star Wars had been, like, gone for a while. So I was excited to see what they did with it. But ultimately, some of the decisions in there I kind of just did not like. And then, Episode 8 came out, and it wasn't the greatest, but I can say, like, some of the things that I got out of it was pretty cool. But ultimately, it wasn't my favorite. And then Episode 9 just sucked. Episode 9 sucked. I felt like the whole thing was just kind of a bleh on the whole franchise. And I feel like Kathleen Kennedy doesn't get enough hate for it, at least in my opinion. I feel like Kathleen Kennedy needs to, like, stop running these movies, because it sucks. It really does not. Her vision isn't too great. I'll just put it like that. But when I heard the news that they're going to be making another one, like an episode 10 pretty much, with Rey being the person leading the Jedi Order, it's kind of like, this could go one of two ways. This could go either really good, depending on how it's led and how it's told, or it can go like Rise of Skywalker bad, because I felt like, I don't know, it's just there's so much that you could do with these movies. There's so much like backstory stuff, like so many characters that are just kind of like thrown in the back bin, and I feel like could make Star Wars good again if you just took a step back and did something about, like, let's say do like a Knights of the Old Republic movie, or if you were to just go and do something about like a Sith, like some of the Sith people are freaking cool. They are cool. Like, I am all down for the Sith Lords, bro. But there's just so much storyline that could be done. I would love to see a General Grievous backstory movie, because if you guys have seen, or not seen, if you guys have read the backstory to General Grievous and how he came to be, that was like probably one of my favorite backstories, if not, it's one. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it is a pretty good like backstory bit that I would love to see put into a film, or even if they decided to do a a whole like TV series of it, I'd be fine with that. It just depends, because when it comes to Disney running these TV shows, I feel like all that is told within the TV shows, you could basically tell within one movie. You could put it together into one movie and cut out all the bullshit, and it would still be just as good. Like, what's an example of it? God, I know, like, I had them all thought up in my mind what you could, like, make into a whole movie. I feel like Loki, for example, I feel like Loki had way too much going on and could have been told all within like this big cinematic blockbuster movie, because there was so much just background stuff that did need to be, like, what it did was make Infinity Stones into paperweights, make them not matter anymore, because Thanos is dead and now we have to find out a way to get a new big bad into this storyline. So let's just throw away the whole idea of Infinity Stones, because, they were labeled as this big thing, like, very big, like, idea. But then, now it's just paperweights? Like, I don't know. That could have been made into a movie and have gone just fine. So many things that are within Marvel movie standards could have been just made into a movie entirely, and, I don't even know how to explain it right. My brain's going all sorts of places right now. But all in all, I just feel like, Disney needs to stop being the cash cow it is sometimes, and realize that if you're going to want to make a lot of money, you probably want to pay attention to the fans. Because even though they say they pay attention to the fans, they suck at doing that. They really do. I mean, they kind of have, like, in recent days, like in the recent, like, months, they've been kind of, like, pushing things back after hearing us, like, yell about VFX artists, like, being rushed about, and, all that stuff. It was terrible, how they were treated. I feel like if you're gonna do something on Marvel standards, the reason why the Marvel movies were so good when they happened was we didn't have this big, like, overflux of like it's just like it's overflow of Marvel stuff coming out. Like, once a TV show came out, like 3 months later another one comes out. When the Marvel movies came out, we got one per year, and we were on the edge of our seats till the next year, wondering what the hell is going to happen in the next one. And now here we are, like, Moon Knight, here comes Moon Knight, which, by the way, I feel like you could have done Moon Knight so much better. He is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and they totally, I wouldn't say it was the worst show they could have done, but they could have done, like, so much better with Moon Knight, dude. Moon Knight is, like, a good Marvel character, a really interesting Marvel character, and they just kind of botched it, I'll say. I wouldn't say it's bad. I could maybe watch it once or twice, like, either way. Like, I could probably sit down and watch it again, but I probably wouldn't. It's not like something I would go and, like, back and watch over and over, because it's just not great. It's not great at all. But yeah, I just let my brain run wild there. I think this might be where we end the podcast. I think I might end it off here for now. This shorter episode, but as a summary, we went over the channel's future, and we discussed a bunch of Disney and Marvel shit. So that was the end of today's podcast. This will be happening more. I will try to stay consistent on this and keep more stuff coming, more content coming for you guys, even though short film stuff is going to be down to a low. It's not going to be happening much at all unless I'm able, like I said, to do something before the end of the summer. But we'll see. I have a bunch of scripts written down, ready to be thrown out there whenever they are ready to be thrown out there. Script ideas that might never come to be, script ideas that might come to be, who knows. But that's about it for today's podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing me rant on about Star Wars and discuss the history of the channel and what's to be coming afterwards. What's up with the future. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.